Let's cap this off, AJ. Finish us off and give us your last player to avoid.
Players.
Oh, I didn't.
No, that's
You
cool. I
didn't.
know.
You didn't have
I'm
really
just.
much on your third player, so I was like, you know what? We'll just
Yeah, yeah,
kill it
yeah.
here.
No,
Two,
no, no,
two
no, no, no,
each.
no, no. You'll see where I'm at. You'll see what I'm getting at here.
Oh, now,
Um,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what? You know what? The floor
Ooh, it's cool.
is
It's cool.
yours.
Appreciate it. So it's gonna hurt my heart to say these things, much like it did the last time, but not for the same reason. It's because this is a talented player who's on the opposite side of another talented player, and I'm worried about drafting just about either one of them at either of their ADPs, and that is the Seattle Seahawks wide receivers. We will start with DK Metcalf, who is going like 45th overall right now. I think wide receiver 15. Great physical, athletic, fast specimen, but as we all know, they lost Russell Wilson. What I mess up? Why you got that face?
Dylan, are you there? I can't hear AJ.
I'm here. I'm present. Why can't you hear
Oh.
AJ? I can hear AJ.
Headphones died.
Uh-oh.
Proceed.
Well,
sorry, I'm so
Oh
sorry.
man, I was flowing.
Sorry.
I was flowing.
wow.
DK Metcalf being taken as a wide receiver
So
15
sorry.
around the ADP 45 overall. Fast, physical, talented, gifted, all those things. But of course, as we know, they lost Russell Wilson. They are now either going to have Drew Lock or Geno Smith. Either one of those names, pick it out of a hat, and is a serviceable, massive downgrade. And I think that's going to affect a guy like DK Metcalf, who honestly needs a lot of touchdown production to see himself succeed. He's got 32 touchdowns over his first 3 seasons, and that's where he does his damage. 9 out of 12 games last year, DK Metcalf scored below 12.1 points with Russell Wilson. Over the last 2 seasons, to talk about his other player, Tyler Lockett on the other side, they have had almost a nearly identical target share, and Tyler Lockett has actually outscored DK Metcalf over the last 2 seasons. The problem with that being, and everybody who plays fantasy football agrees, Tyler Lockett is one of the most inconsistent and hard to predict wide receivers in the league. His other specialty was his deep ball. Now, some people may argue, well, Drew Lock has a very strong arm, but he doesn't have as great accuracy. Over in 2020, the last time he played enough games to be assessed, so to speak, he had a 27% accuracy rating on deep ball percentage. DK Metcalf loves big plays. Tyler Lockett is a deep threat. Without that there, I don't know if these guys are going to be as efficient as they need to be with the Drew Lock to give you the return and the value that you were looking for at these people. Now, maybe Tyler Lockett, because he's like wide receiver 40. So, like, I get that. I understand that. But even still, that's kind of high up when you're talking about having 3 receivers. The other thing, too, and last point that I really have, and this is a smaller point, it's kind of like a just add-in. Noah Fant came over with Drew Lock, a guy that he has rapport with, and probably their best tight end that the Seahawks have had since Jimmy Graham was there after Jimmy Graham was good. So, like, there's going to be more targets. It's not just these 2 receivers that are looking at getting the ball. There's going to be other targets to be shared. So, definitely DK Metcalf. I would be slow to take him at his ADP. Tyler Lockett, you really have to look at what's around him and decide if that's the route you want to go. And even still, we're talking about 2 good receivers on a really bad offense. And that worries me a little bit.
Let me ask you something. Let me throw this at you here real quick. So last season when DK Metcalf had Geno Smith as his quarterback, he finished with 10 points. He finished with 17 points. And he finished with 22 points. Jacksonville, New Orleans, Pittsburgh. So that's 2 good defenses. 2 of the 3 games. I mean, that's good. Then he had the bye week, and then against Green Bay, he had 5 and finished off the season. So, and I get where you're coming from with this. And to me, the worry for DK there is half of his games were considered poor games in terms of consistency. And now you add in the fact that you have Drew Lock and Geno Smith there for a longer period of time. I mean, that is worrisome for a DK Metcalf. And I mean, that's 9 games where he had less than 8 points. And where you're drafting DK, you're still drafting DK. I don't want to say similar to where he was last year, but I feel like where you're drafting DK this year as the 43rd player off the board, wide receiver 15. It's similar to where you were drafting him last year.
Yeah. And despite, like, I mean, when you look back at his season as a whole, like, all right, DK, he did his thing in some games and some weeks where you needed it, like damn it, I need DK to show up this week. Those were some of the weeks that you'd get it. But like when you look at DK and what you expect from him, there were a lot of people that weren't happy with what DK Metcalf did for fantasy last season. So, and that's with Russell Wilson. To do it with Drew Lock, I can't trust it. This would be one of those seasons where I'd be like, you know what, you have him. If you're correct on him, I wish you all the best until the championship round where I whoop your ass because you had DK with Drew Lock. But I'll let somebody else deal with that headache and I'll go another route. I'd rather take a flyer or a big shot on somebody else that might have a better season with an up and coming quarterback or another year in and have learned the game a little bit better. So that's my take on a DK Metcalf at wide receiver 15. Dylan apparently really disagrees.
I sat back and listened to this long enough. I'm going to chime in here and give my 2 cents. And, you look at Geno's East or Geno Smith, whatever you want to call him, whether he's a pizza joint in Chicago or a quarterback, who knows? He's not good at anything. So looking at him, I mean, I don't care who the quarterback is, to be honest. Drew Lock in Denver, he still put up good fantasy numbers for some wide receivers there. Cortland Sutton wasn't awful. Like, there were people who actually played well on that team, all right? So I'm not staying away because the quarterback. If Russell Wilson was still there, I'm staying away from both guys. And strictly because you don't know which one's going off. I'm serious.
I'm done, bro.
Come on, man.
Stop right here.
What are you talking about?
Let me get my take in here, okay? When I don't care who the quarterback is, there's so much inconsistency with those two wide receivers year after year. Someone gets 27, the other one gets 8. You'll get completely screwed. And that's how it is every single year with those two. I've stayed away my entire time. You'll get a 48-point night from Lockett. You'll be on cloud 9, and then he'll just piss down his leg the next week. I don't care who the quarterback is because I saw it with Wilson, and it's not getting any better with the other two. Vincent.
How dare you? How dare you?
What?
I'm going to throw this right back in your stupid face. Last week on this show on Monday, you were talking about how you're going to start Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. You're going to be able to take.
I didn't say those two names.
You brought it up, did you not?
I said I would start.
Oh, that was you.
I said I would start Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
I have the stupid face now. I have the stupid face. Proceed, AJ.
Oh, I have nothing. I mean, once he said he would stay away from them because of Russell Wilson and not Drew Lock, it's pointless to argue. Like, why?
Yeah,
for what reason? Because clearly nothing.
What I'm
like,
saying is
you chose your left and right side of your mouth to speak out of, bro. Like, how? Like, in what world would you rather? What do you? How, bro? That's how they get their points. The quarterback throwing them the ball. That's how they get their points. That's how their value is even remotely equalized to what they're supposed to do. If you were going to sit here and tell me that Russell Wilson being there is not enough for you because there's an inconsistency, you want to know the consistency you will have with the Drew Lock or a Geno Smith? Sadness, suffering,
Depression.
Underperformance. That's what you're going to see with them. If you want consistency, that's where it's going to be. Don't sit here and tell me that you would stay away because of Russell Wilson and not Drew Lock.
I'm not saying I'd stay away because of Russell Wilson. I'm saying I'd stay away because of their situation. Those two have been together every year in the league. When Russell Wilson's hot, everybody wants both. When Russell Wilson hits his mid-year fall off that he usually has, whereas he's not being an MVP candidate for a few weeks, that's when it's teeter-totter with the other guys. And that's what you're going to get for an entire year with Drew Lock and Geno Smith is teeter-totter. You don't know which one's going off. And that's why I'm avoiding them.
With your Russell Wilson talk, I think that's like I would take one of them in the Russell Wilson teeter-totter because I know that even when you're tottering, I don't think it's going to be that. It wasn't that bad with DK or Tyler Lockett. And then when you were teetering and you were going all the way up, it was hey, you won your weeks because those matches. But I think with the Drew Lock, and it's not even necessarily about the talent of DK, and I hope his ADP drops. I feel like he's one of those guys who will also drop as we get closer to the season when we figure out who's going to be the quarterback. Right now, he's going over guys that I just don't know if I'd take him over. And one of them is a person that we talked about on our Dynasty show or on our Burning Questions show on Wednesday. AJ, you were not there. Terry McLaurin. He's going over Terry McLaurin. We talked about Terry McLaurin Dynasty value. redraft value.
Yeah.
He's got Carson Wentz for this year, maybe for a full year. Hopefully, if we'd assume a full year, would you take Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin over DK and Drew Lock or Geno Smith?
Well, you're gonna call me the Carson lover anyway, so I would. And
I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close, to be honest. I think that
because the question about Carson Wentz isn't about making plays on the field in the middle of the season. It's about being clutch and getting over the hump and getting the job complete. So during the game, Carson Wentz is going to find his guy, and Terry McLaurin is just too talented of a receiver to really think that it's not going to be as good. Drew Lock has a long way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see.
So when you say it's not even close, were you saying the other side, or were you saying my side?
I don't think it's that close as in I would take Terry McLaurin over DK any day, just because I know that McLaurin is going to be a safer pick than DK. I guess at this point, I'm sure we're going to talk about this plenty in the future, but like the whether you go safety or whether you take a shot depends on roster construction. But I think I would much rather take Terry McLaurin than DK Metcalf. Although last season, Terry McLaurin, 71% of his games were bad. 71% of Terry McLaurin's games were bad last year. So
that's you taking Tyler Heineke, or are you taking Carson Wentz?
That's true. Dylan, go ahead. Finish us off.
Thank you. Back to the Lockett thing. Going week by week, right? Lockett week 1, 26, Metcalf 16. That was a good one. 31-11, 7-22, 6-16, 10-26, 5-11, 3-17, 26-22. They both went off. Congrats. First time all year. Maybe week 1, you argue. 4-5, 15-7, 12-2, 19-11, 27-12, 12-32, 27-10.
You're just rattling off numbers at this point.
Yeah, I would love to. When one went well, I'd love to know some context. I'd love to know what the situations were around him. I'd like to know who was
Lockett to Metcalf every week last year.
Yeah. So, and I get it. I understand that the way that they played in Seattle, the way that Russell was a big play threat, it's very hard to sustain two guys when it's deep ball patterns. It's not going to be the same when it comes to Drew Lock and Geno Smith. One, because they're going to have a different style of play and a different scheme of offense going on. And two, because there's not going to be the level of consistency and talent coming from a Drew Lock or a Geno Smith. You might see a lot of those 12 to 14 games from both of them.
I think if you're getting a teeter-totter like that, where it's 50-50, so 50% of the games DK Metcalf is going to be great and give that quality type of performance, I will gladly take that. Because if you look at you basically laid it out to where 50% of DK or Tyler Lockett's games are quality to great starts.
Except for DK has more quality than
there are guys in the top 10 for wide receivers that did not even come close to a 50% in that consistency chart. So I will gladly take someone who can be at least 50. It's tough. It sucks.
You get a 6 and a 4, and then you're like, I got to sit this guy, and then you drop 30.
It does suck.
But that's not true.
I think when you look at DK, and this will kind of tie it all and wrap it up, though, is that where you're drafting him and who. And again, we're going to talk about this in much greater length as our fantasy talk continues. But it's about roster construction. And if you're drafting a guy like DK, where it's going to be boom or bust, you want a safer wide receiver to pair him up with, whether that be if you go wide receiver early in the draft, like a Devontae Adams or a Stephon Diggs. You get someone, Justin Jefferson, someone safe. You can then take your shot on your wide receiver 2, burning you like that, than if you are relying on DK Metcalf to be your wide receiver 1. That is where I think we stand on DK Metcalf. Dylan, would you rather DK Metcalf or Michael Pittman Jr.?
Michael Pittman.
DK Metcalf or Mike Williams?
Mike Williams.
DK Metcalf or Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Amon-Ra.
DK Metcalf or Allen Robinson?
I like the offense better. Give me Allen Robinson.
DK Metcalf or Hunter Renfrow? Now we're now just playing how low can you go? DK Metcalf or Hunter Renfrow?
I'm getting more consistency with Renfrow. Third down guy.
I
He's getting.
would have taken Renfrow too. But then again, there's less targets to go for Renfrow this year too.
Yeah,
so that's a.
So okay, let's keep this straight. Let's see
It's
where
tough,
the line
yeah.
is for this because this is going to be funny. This is going to be great. DK Metcalf or Darnell Mooney?
I like Mooney as the one.
DK Metcalf or Devontae Smith?
Devontae Smith.
DK Metcalf or Treylon Burks?
Where's he at? Green. Where'd he go?
He's
Tennessee.
in Tennessee.
He's the new AJ Brown.
Shit. I like Treylon.
I'm done with you, bro. Stop.
I'm serious. No, I'm not taking DK Metcalf. Keep going.
DK Metcalf or Chase Claypool?
See, Claypool's up and down too. I'd take the talent in Metcalf.
DK Metcalf or Christian Kirk?
I think Kirk has upside.
DK Metcalf or Chris Olave?
Why? Why are we even entertaining him anymore?
Depends on Michael Thomas. Hey, if Michael Thomas is healthy on draft day, I'm taking DK Metcalf.
So right now, you are taking DK Metcalf as the wide receiver 49 range. You're taking him as roughly the wide receiver 50 of drafts.
Yep. And Lockett's even further down.
It's ridiculous, by the way.
That's not even that. Wow.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine because those 5-6 point weeks aren't going to lose me weeks. I'd rather have a Hunter Renfrow 10 than a number 4 from freaking DK Metcalf.
And hope that you get a DK Metcalf 22 from Hunter Renfrow in week 14. Hope with Devontae Adams and Darren Waller.
I like consistency.
Let's end this before we
get
number
taken
2
off the air because I want consistency.
I like your you have valid points with the DK Metcalf, and I do tend to avoid players where I don't know, like I don't want to be. You guys know me very well. Been together for a very long time doing this show. You guys know how emotional I am when it comes to just about everything in my life. I stay away from guys like DK Metcalf. At a certain point, obviously, I draft them. I'm not completely stupid. But I do at their ADP when I see them pop up as like the next best player available. I'm like, I don't know if I really want DK Metcalf just because I do get emotional. And that's one of the things that buries me in fantasy football. That's why I do not have many championships to my name. But this year will be different, I hope. I hope because we're talking fantasy a lot more, it'll help me out.